we're going to have one last speaker, and I'll invite him up. Nick Bush, please, would you mind coming up? Nick's going to talk a little bit about, I want to say, the economy, because I know that it impacts everyone, and it's the one thing that we can always skewer Jacinda Ardern on. This is a woman who doesn't even know what GDP means. She's the leader of a nation, and she's held in high regard by clearly really stupid people. So thank you. Nick, here you go.
That's exactly right, Jackie.
Good afternoon, guys.
You stay elevated.
Napoleon Busch is my name on social media. Nick Bush. Everyone seems to know Nick Bush. They've put the two together. But I'd just like to ask this man to stand up and hold that up high, please. I'd just like to talk about what's really going on with this COVID thing in our economy. And I haven't really heard anyone put it all together yet. It's our gross domestic product of our country. Now, this government, or these people masquerading as our government in Wellington, they are directly targeting our scale manufacturing here in New Zealand. And we've got 4 key industries in New Zealand that represent about 40% of our gross domestic product, and the government is directly targeting these for shutdown. We've got the TY point. It's about 10% of our sales. We've got oil and gas exploration and extraction. Now they closed down the exploration 3 years ago. That's put a chill on the whole system down there. Taranaki region was the most productive region in the whole country because it had dairy, oil and gas exploration and extraction. They shut down the most productive region in New Zealand. The next one is New Zealand Steel, where we extract iron sands from the West Coast beach, or the sand dunes. We create high quality steel, and right through to finished product, like galvanised steel and pipe. Under the Climate Change Commission recommendations, that won't be able to be sustainable, right? We may still have colour steel produced in New Zealand, we won't produce steel. The other one is they are going to close down the refining NZ up north. They're going to import fuel directly to that plant, but it's really just deployed to monopolise our energy market into electricity. Right? We bring crude oil in, we create petrol, diesel and kerosene for our transportation system to move our goods around the country efficiently, and also add the value here in our own economy rather than have that added in Singapore. So all 4 of those, TY point, oil and gas, steel manufacturing and oil refinery, 40%. They admit this themselves. In all sorts of media articles, they're going to close them down. They're going to close 40% of our economy down. That's on top of what they're doing with the COVID response and the lockdowns, the rolling lockdowns that are destroying the other 60% represent small and medium businesses. This latest lockdown last week, these people have got a knife to the throat of small and medium businesses. If this goes on after Sunday morning, I think it's going to be a house of cards. It's not on. These people are turning off the New Zealand economy. That will affect all of you. And I'd like you to go back and talk to your families and your friends and describe what I've just said and understand that they are taking control of the economy, right? And they're turning it down, they're turning it off. How are we going to afford to have hip replacements? How are we going to afford to have cancer treatments? How are we going to afford to educate our children? I don't know. But if you had a CEO that came into a large company like New Zealand and said, at the end of my tenure, I guarantee it'll be 40% less net sales than what we've had today, you'd be telling them to get the fuck out of here. That's what Jacinda Ardern is doing. She's also dividing us along race. She's a Marxist. She's a cultural Marxist and doing social engineering. I know I'm going to have to calm down a little bit because I'm really passionate about this, right? She is destroying the New Zealand that I grew up in. upward. We were all one people, as we should be one people.
Where's Winston Peters? Winston Peters did.
And Winston Peters has got a lot to answer for.
He started that.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening to our economy. We need our economy to be prosperous. These people obviously don't want us to be prosperous, so please go home. Oh, one other thing, we've got the police over here and they're saying, oh, we're organising a protest, and you know, we've got rules that we're going to fine you and imprison you and all the rest of it. Well, I've got a solution to that. So what I did during the week on the first day of the lockdown is I did a one-man protest. I went out onto a nice area on a main road, and I had some of my signs set up. It was amazing.
Was it raining?
It was raining. It rained and I stood there. It was amazing the amount of toots I got and waves, and once people realised what I was doing, you'll be amazed at the amount of people in your communities that actually do think like this. They won't come along to something like this because it's a bit too far out for them. But people are sick and tired. They have had a gutsful.
Yeah.
They've had a gutsful of all this lockdown. When there is other options, right? We didn't know what was going. We didn't know what this thing was 12 months ago, and we were all scared. I've got kids at primary school. I thought one snotty nose, that's it. They'll bring it home. We'll have mums dying. We'll have kids dying. It'll be terrible. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Yeah, right.
367 days.
I was on board, right? But over time, I've looked at the other options. The Plan B people, they've got the quinine, malaria drugs. They've got the zincs. They've got the other. It's not as bad as what they're making out. And I'll tell you one more other thing that I'd like you to take on board is the media in New Zealand. Now they say propagandists. I'd like to reinvent that. I'd say they're info-terrorists. Because they're instilling fear into the New Zealand public. And they're terrorising us to capitulate and submit to all these terrible freedoms that they're taking away from us.
125 million of our money.
Criminals.
Yeah, they're criminals.
Well, yeah, I agree with all of you. I agree with everything you just said. Yeah, this is my first time I've been speaking up on a microphone.
You're doing well.
All right, Nick.
Unfortunately, I'll probably end up doing it again and again and again now. So,
Mate.
go home and do a one-man protest. And that will show your town and your community that there are people willing to stand up and talk, to speak up, and have had a gutsful. Thank you very much. We got rain coming.